Hello everybody! Today I'm going to show you how you can turn a thrifted shirt into a halter dress. That's today on Refashioning with Rachel. First, cut off the sleeves and set them aside for now. Then draw in a straight line right underneath the collar and cut it off and set it aside. Get your underbust measurement and divide it by 4 and add ½ inch for seam allowance. And then make a mark that distance away from the center at the top of the shirt. And draw a straight line from that point to the bottom corner of the shirt. And cut. Then put these pieces with right sides together and pin the side seams starting at the bottom and working your way up to the top. And sew. Start at the bottom so you can make sure that the hem is perfectly lined up on both sides. And now serge or zigzag the raw edge. If you use a serger, tuck the tail away into the seam using a fat needle. And then iron the seams so that they look nice. Also iron the sleeves that you cut off earlier, making sure that the button placket and the underarm seam are all on one side. Okay, so now you're going to try on the bottom part of the dress, and using your own body as a dress form, drape the sleeves over your body and pin it down to the skirt where it seems to lie naturally. And this might take some tweaking, so just kind of take your time here and keep playing with it until it looks nice. With any fabric that bunches out, pin it down so that we can make it into a dart. And keep making tiny adjustments until you like how it looks. And you only have to do this with one side because we will be transferring the markings to the other sleeve. On the wrong side of the fabric, mark in where the sleeve meets the skirt. And then also mark in where you made the dart. And then you can unpin everything. And trim off the bottom but add ½ inch for seam allowance. And mark the ends of your dart with some notches. And now you can lay this sleeve on top of the other one to copy the bottom shape. And then place pins into the dart. So that you can copy it onto the other side. Now fold along the dart. And sew. And then iron it so that it lies nicely. And then I draped these pieces over my body again to see how it would fit, and I decided to add another little dart. This is probably how I should have done the dart originally, but this way there's a little bit of cuppage now in the bodice. And now pin each side of the bodice to the skirt with right sides together. And sew. Use a slightly smaller seam allowance than usual, because we will be going over this seam with a reinforcing strip of fabric. And for that strip of fabric, we need a bunch of 2-inch wide strips. And we need enough strips of fabric to make one giant strip that is as long as your underbust measurement plus an inch or two for seam allowance. Sew all these strips together at the ends. Press open the seams and fold down and iron 1/2 inch from one side of the strip. Pin the non-folded end of the strip to the skirt with right sides together and leaving about 1/2 inch of overhang. and sew. And for this stitch, use a regular seam allowance. And just to make sure that this stitch goes down further than the stitching that you did for the bodice. Now fold that strip up and iron it down. Then working on the wrong side, fold in that little overhanging piece and fold down the strip all the way down to the seam and iron. And sew, making the stitch close to the fold. I had a button in my way right here, so I had to start stitching a little further down. And then I went back and stitched around the button from the front. And I also opened up the buttonhole after reinforcing it with some stitching. If you weren't lucky like me and didn't have the button and buttonhole right at the top of this skirt, you can just put in a new buttonhole and a button from the cuffs. And then I tried on the dress and decided I wanted the top to be a little bit more modest, so I'm using a multiple step zigzag stitch. And just making sure that the two sides of the bodice, where they meet, goes right down the center of the presser foot. And then I also added a bar tack on top for some extra security. And then this project was finished. So here's a reminder of how it looked before. And here's how it looks now. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe and comment if you did. And check out some of my other videos. And have a beautiful day.